Hi Dr. Staples, it's Lenae. During this video, I want to talk to you about some of the key ideas and experiences that led me to my new teaching consciousness. Prior to this seminar, I was immensely naive about the role of an educator. I live in a small city named Williamsport, which is nicknamed Little Philly. I thought I had seen it all and understood what it meant to be an urban educator. But this course, my practicum site, and the relationships I built in only 2 short weeks proved me entirely wrong. I've learned that being an educator is much more expansive and influential than simply filling students with knowledge and encouraging their learning, and I'd like to share my awakening with you. In this course, we talked extensively about racism, sexism, and ableism that are preserved through the work of the white supremacist patriarchy, an ideology so ambient that it is everywhere but nowhere all at once. Through the framework of the patriarchy, we began to discuss the field of dreams and how people who embody intersectional identities are pushed to the margins of the circle, as well as the micro and macro aggressions that affect the field of dreams. As a white woman, I am only a small step from the center of the circle, and am therefore steeped in privilege. However, many of the students I met in Philly were many steps from the center. In my practicum site, Central High School, I painfully observed students struggling with poverty, racism, and sexism, and how it impacted their position in society. The students discussed with each other, my mentor teacher, Mr. G, and with me their experiences with aggressions and the hurt and anger they caused. I was heartbroken to see such an intelligent and caring group of students feel so burdened like I never had. But one key observation gave me hope. The students were not discussing how problems like racism, sexism, and ableism harmed their school, but rather Philly, the country, and the world. Within Central, the students and teachers were very committed to the dismantling of the patriarchy. The students spoke comfortably about seeing the patriarchy and ways to cripple it. And as a result of their active strides towards healing, Mr. G's classroom was nearly untouched by the patriarchy's cruelty, giving me hope for my future classroom. Our class discussions and my experiences at Central have led me to understand that racism, sexism, and ableism go unseen and undealt with only because of the patriarchy's illusory and masterful nature. However, I now realize that as an educator, part of my role is to bring the patriarchy to light, watch closely for it in my future classroom, and most importantly, respond when I see it. I now understand that there are multiple ways I can disrupt the patriarchy's influence, because as an educator, I have power. For example, I can serve as a stepping stone to the center of the circle for my future students by creating movement within the field of dreams. By being aware of my position in the circle and remembering to look behind me and simply extend my arm with my resources and privilege, I can bring my students closer to visibility, give them a voice, and ultimately happiness in life. Part of my newfound role is also to recognize and interrupt aggressions in my classroom. The pain the patriarchy causes exists because we let it. If I do not allow the patriarchy to hide in my classroom, I can create a learning environment for my students that is largely free of shackles. In addition to my new knowledge about teaching, I have also found that being an educator is about learning from others, which I discovered is best done by adhering to the 4 agreements. For example, one of my peers in the seminar used comedy and sarcasm heavily, ensuring that conversation remained superficial. I immediately wanted to make assumptions and take personally his lack of transparency, but by following the 4th agreement to do my best, I refrained from doing so. By the 4th day, we began to have a real connection and he shared his story with me, something he said few knew. He demonstrated to me that learning requires patience and can occur when we least expect it. Therefore, my new role as an educator has also expanded to include embodying the agreements to allow learning. Dr. Staples, in class, you truly summed up my new teaching consciousness when you said there are tears in teaching. These words have so much meaning to me because teachers have an influence on so many in their careers and are impacted by so many students in return. There will certainly be tears of excitement and heartache when students touch our souls and challenge us to evolve as educators. But now I realize that those tears are not wrong. They're just a part of teaching, especially when you're truly invested. Before this course, I was living in a state of blissful ignorance about the presence of the patriarchy and the preservation of racism, sexism, and ableism through its work. However, this course has been an awakening, and I never want to forget this coming of knowledge or stop evolving my teaching practices. I plan to reflect on the emotions felt and thoughts discovered during this seminar, often to preserve their strength, and I will become much more than the teacher I aspired to be just a short month ago. I have always known my calling was to be a teacher. Now, thank you to you, Dr. Staples, I understand my calling to be a teacher as a call to be a spiritual warrior in the decolonization of the patriarchy. With that, I just want to end this video by saying, I vow to teach for life and for love, and to be a part of the change and healing this world needs.